Hi, I'm your host, Larissa Werstiak. On this podcast, I explore topics in digital marketing for jewelry designers and retailers, including branding, content, email, events, social media, and more. This is episode 71, and today I'll be sharing my interview with Mayumi Ishii, the exclusive US distributor of Chrysmela, which is the brand behind the most secure earring backs in the world. And I'm actually wearing them. Chrysmela's founder and inventor, Eri Kikunaga, came up with the idea after fighting and then breaking up with an ex-boyfriend over losing an earring that he had gifted her. Since it was launched in 2008, the proven technology has been patented in 5 countries: the US, UK, France, Italy, and Japan, where they've been number 1 in the entire jewelry category for a few years. All of Chrysmela's products are made in Japan with the same technology used for smartphones and fine watches. Each back has its own serial number and is hypoallergenic with a surgical stainless steel mechanism. The platinum and gold coatings have 99% purity. In this episode, I talked to Mayumi about what it's like to introduce a disruptive new jewelry product into an industry that's based on long-standing tradition. Some other topics will include the goals Mayumi had when entering the US market, how the brand differentiates itself from competitors, how to bring glamour and a luxury feel to a kind of boring product category, adjusting marketing and sales approach for both B2B and D2C, and the marketing and public relations tactics that have yielded the most success, and more. Before we get to the interview, I wanted to share some marketing-related news and articles and research from the past week that caught my attention. First, I saw a really interesting article about special considerations that brands should take when marketing to Gen Z. So if Gen Z is in your target customer range, you'll want to know that these customers are facing unprecedented levels of stress, especially when it comes to social media use. So they expect brands to engage with their emotional needs in a sincere way. Even though social media is one of the main ways that you'll be reaching Gen Z, you'll also want to know that for these customers, social media presents a lot of stress. And communicating positivity and inclusivity in your social media posts is super refreshing and one way to really reach them and appeal to them on social media. And honestly, it's probably just a good policy in general, no matter what generation you're marketing to. So there's a lot of uncertainty around coronavirus these days, and many e-commerce retailers feel kind of immune to it since their sales don't necessarily depend on in-person interactions. However, coronavirus is probably going to affect e-commerce more than we realize. According to a new article from Marketing Land, quote, supply chain issues, product shortages, and potentially declining consumer demand could also blunt e-commerce growth if the economy falters or goes into recession, end quote. So now, more than ever, digital marketing matters for e-commerce retailers, even if it kind of seems right now like sales are increasing. Did you know that you can get the links to all these articles if you sign up for my weekly email newsletter? When you visit joya.com/sign up, you'll not only be the first to hear about new episodes, but you'll also get a free copy of my ebook, Proven Conversion Strategies for E-commerce Jewelry Retailers. All right, let's jump into my interview with Mayumi. How and when did you originally get involved with the Chrysmela brand, and what was your role in growing the business?
Hi, Larissa. Thanks for having me today. And yes, so I never been in the jewelry industry ever, or not to mention retail. My background has been international management consultant, helping Japanese companies to succeed in the States and US companies to find Japanese partners. So this just happened as a total surprise to myself. And on one of the my business trips in Tokyo, I discovered Chrysmela, the most secure earring bag, and I just immediately fell in love with it. And I thought, oh, I have to share this amazing innovation with millions of people in the States and beyond.
That's awesome. So, what was your original role? Were you like a co-founder? Like, what was your position when you started it here?
So the product has been around in 11 years in Japan, and I just became the exclusive representative for the brand outside of Japan. So I've been in charge of from marketing, branding, how to launch and everything from day one. That's why I call myself Chrysmela Chief.
I love it. So, how has your role changed over time, or has it remained the same over the years?
Pretty much, I've been pretty much hands-on every aspect of growing this brand, expanding our business from day one on everything, like from sales to customer service to everything.
Uh-huh. So, what were your original goals when you launched the product to the US market? And how did you pivot or change your approach to sales and marketing over time? I mean, obviously you were reaching a new customer, it's a totally new culture, a new ideas about jewelry and about fashion. So, yeah, original goals, and then how did the sales and marketing approach change over time?
Yes, the our goal has been the same from day one. Our goal is to have Chrysmela on every earring eventually. So that's a long-term goal. But having said that, in Japan, which this product's been around in Japan for 11 years, they did not have certain SKUs, such as they did not have platinum version of Chrysmela, nor support disc. And all those things, I just did my market research in the States, talking to customers and retailers and jewelers, and found out that those were the absolutely necessary to be successful
Mm-hmm.
for the brand. So we added that since we launched, and just little by little, every year we try new things, and just learn as we go, pretty much.
Great. So, who do you consider to be your competitors, and how are you constantly trying to set yourself apart from them?
Yeah, so as you know, the Chrysmela is the high-end replacement for all the earring bags. One set of Chrysmela replaces all your bags from regular bags, butterfly to Lupose, and even screw bags. So the approach was just we our performance, the product performance, just super secure locking earring, and then gradually educating customers. This doesn't not only lock your favorites securely, but also lift as well.
That's awesome. So, as we all know, the jewelry industry tends to be driven by tradition, and a lot of people hold on to old beliefs and ideas. And I think it can sometimes take a really long time for consumers to embrace innovation. So, what was it like to introduce a disruptive new product like Chrysmela to the marketplace? And what have you done to overcome some consumer doubts and objections to that product?
Yeah, so that's a great question. High-end replacement earring bag that category did not exist in jewelry industry, so it's always a challenge, huge challenge to overcome. How to educate people, tell people there's a solution finally that automatically fits and locks and even lift in one product. So the the best analogy I think is car seat belt. Do you drive a car without seat belt? No.
Right.
If you have a baby, do you drive a car with your baby without baby seats? No. So it's just, but then seat belt didn't exist many years ago, and now it's a must and it's a mandatory requirement on everybody. And just like that, Chrysmela will be mandatory on every earring.
That's such a good analogy. So
Security is something you have to buckle up yourself. If you want to feel safe driving, you have to buckle up. It's a kind of proactive initiative to protect yourself, your family, and your babies.
yeah.
So, in a sense, our earrings are our babies because most of us love our earrings and
Hmm.
a special meaning from grandma or heirloom. So we do want to protect them.
Sure. That's a really good description. I love it.
Thanks.
So earring backs are not necessarily super glamorous. Like no one gets excited about shopping for earring backs. And I mean, of course, your product, as opposed to some other like findings, is very beautiful and well made, but it's still not like super sexy, you know? So, how do you elevate your brand image so that the product can stand alone as a desirable luxury item and so that people can consider pairing it with like their luxury jewelry?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. This has been a marketer's nightmare. Nobody thinks about the earring bag until you lose one or, worry about it, or nobody will show you the back of your ears. It's really like photographer's nightmare as well. But to us, branding and how to position ourselves as a high-end replacement everybody should have is the product quality and the performance. And in that product, how wonderful the product performs speaks for itself. And once you start using it, there's no going back. And also, when you first apply it, you notice there's a little tiny click sound. And
Mhm.
because there are 3 micro bearings inside of this tiny device, and that lock onto any sizes of earring posts in any sizes, so it's locked and secure until you unlock it.
Uh-huh. It almost sounds like some kind of fancy like automotive technology. And I guess in a way that makes it a little more sexy and exciting because it has this like high-end technology built into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you buckle up Porsche or Ferrari, I'm sure the buckle sounds a little different.
Yeah, totally. So I know that you guys have also released some earring jackets too, and that seems almost like a way to make it a little bit more sexy or glamorous because now it is part of a piece of jewelry. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
Yes, Chrysmela, the backing itself automatically adjusts to fit and support any earring post between zero point 0.6 to 1.1 millimeter, which is the widest range in the industry as we know of. And the majority of the earring posts, as you know, is ranging 0.7 to zero point 0.9, and we cover widest range. So for the designers and jewelers, you can design any kind of jackets like that attached to the back of the earring on Chrysmela's disc part. And then you can create all sorts of wonderful jackets that automatically works and fits any of the studs your clients already have.
Uh-huh. That's so unique. And I noticed you guys also have a few of your own on your website too, right? Did you design
Yes.
some of your own? Mm-hmm.
Yes, we work with a Japanese designer, and they are handmade in Japan, but we'd love to work with jewelers and designers in the States as well.
Uh-huh. Awesome. Yeah, I forgot to show that I have my Chrysmela on my earrings.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I love these earrings and I love how the backs, they really support them for me because
Mhm.
they kind of can be a little bit droopy. So
Yes.
I'm wearing them right now.
Yeah. Thanks. And I'm wearing one too.
Oh, we're twins.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have two different customer segments. You have the business to business B2B, where you're working with jewelry retailers and designers, but then you also sell direct to consumer mostly through Amazon, but also on your own e-commerce website.
Hmm.
Now, that's such a challenge to sell B2B and D2C at the same time, and it requires two different approaches to marketing and
Hmm.
sales, really.
Hmm.
So, how do you handle that? And how do you kind of keep those two channels separate? And how do you adjust your messaging?
Yes, as you said, you're so right. It's an interesting challenge, but also could be an opportunity. As a brand, Chrysmela never discount to protect our retail partners and jewelers, because it's not fair to them if we start discounting in the direct to consumer channel.
Hmm.
We don't do that to honor our relationship with retailers. But having said that, the reality is when somebody loses an earring bag and then she needs the replacement right away, typically people just Google search like secure earring bag or best earring lock, and then they find Chrysmela and order it right there and then.
Uh-huh.
But then many of our customers who discovered Chrysmela that way are so impressed to the point they tell their favorite jewelers, hey, did you know about this? And then those jewelers in turn become our B2B customers. So it's like for Chrysmela, word of mouth and product performance itself is the key to expand both channels.
Interesting. So the two of them really work hand in hand, it seems like.
Yeah, yes, and in fact, we are carried by over 1,000 doors in Japan of jewelers and other stores, because they think it's a great way for customer service, because one pair pops on and ready to go, everybody can go home and just buy it rather than trying and find a perfect replacement of the earring bag replacement, which is a pain. And also some jewelers give Chrysmela as a thanks, a token of thanks to their top customers, because it's a
Hmm.
great little gift to give and then entice them, to encourage them to buy more earrings.
Sure, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I just thought of a question. I'm curious, I mean, because the brand started in Japan and it seems to be like very popular there, and you're in, you said 1,000 doors in Japan.
Mhm.
Do you find that a large majority of your American customers are Japanese American? Like, does it translate in that way, or does it have nothing to do with that?
Really nothing to do with it. And then I look at our orders by name, first names. Majority are non-Japanese. Of course, there are a bunch of Mayumis, which is my name, and I can tell, but really, it's not just a small fraction. So it's really universal. And then earring back problem, lost earrings, or like droopy earlobes, they are universal. It's very,
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
yeah.
I guess I was just wondering because I don't know
Yeah.
in Japan if like earring culture is more popular here or not at all.
It's really similar. I understand like about 1/3 of earring wearers in the States have a pierced ears. So 1/3, it's a little less in Japan. But Japanese culture also important thing is we value tradition and we value family heirlooms and we value our possessions. We kind of take good care of things from dishes to jewelry to clothing. So it's like something, it's not disposable. Like even earring bags should not be disposable. But today, komari, as you know, komari
Hmm.
is very popular in the States, because in the States, the culture is shifting that let's value, you know, let's take care of our possessions and let's use something you love for many, many years. So we are totally in sync with this current movement of KonMari, in addition to the fact that one pair of Chrysmela can replace all your earring bags in your jewelry drawer.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's really embracing like a minimalist lifestyle and
Yeah,
also like
yeah,
buying for life as
yeah.
opposed to right now.
It is. And plus, it saves time. How many minutes do you usually waste in the morning when once you decide on the earring of that day to wear, and then start looking for the back? That's how.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, what are some marketing and public relations tactics that have helped you achieve the most success so far or that you were the most excited about? And why do you think that those worked so well?
Yes, so there's no science behind it. Just basically, we're just doing everything, trying to think of new ideas all the time and try everything and just keep on keeping on. And then, having said that, so there's no formula in our system. However, having said that, there were two lucky breaks we had in last couple of years. One was that I entered this business contest on MSNBC and won the contest, which led me to the two live spots on Home Shopping Network, HSN, which was the most scariest experience I've ever enjoyed. But so that was great break. And another one was totally out of blue. People magazine called Chrysmela, the most genius jewelry invention ever. I wish I wrote the copy, but they did.
That's awesome.
So you never know where the lucky breaks comes from. So you just hustle all the time.
Yeah. And were those because you were working with a public relations firm, or did those happen accidentally?
So those two happened. The first one, MSNBC, totally happened totally accidentally, and then second one, the People magazine, was kind of semi second or third kind of degree of how do you call it? Degree of freedom. Like somebody knew somebody, and then somebody introduced me to that.
That's awesome.
So that was a great break.
Very cool. So, what goals do you have for Chrysmela in the future, and how do you plan to continue innovating and reaching new customers?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, our ultimate goal is Chrysmela to be on every earring. But near term, over the next couple of years, maybe 2 years, we'd like to see Chrysmela on one out of 10 earrings. So that's our goal. So for that goal, we just need to spread the word, ask our customers if they love Chrysmela, tell all your friends, and show up, say yes to Larissa to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
And a great, fun conversation, and everything has a meaning toward that goal. So I really enjoy the process and just trying everything, because everything is new to me. Because again, I never done this before.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here with me and talking about the brand.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, I mean, most of my audience, as far as I know, there might be some random people. Most of my audience are jewelry designers and also jewelry retailers. So, how can they benefit from you? What can you offer them? And
Mhm.
how can they learn more about you?
Yes, so Chrysmela comes in platinum, yellow gold, and rose gold, with or without support disc, and it's a gift-ready box in a pretty box. So when customer, this is one way for jewelers and stores to give your customer to have a reason to come in to take a look. For example, if they just bought one beautiful piece of your design, encourage them to ask them to come back and then see if they want to try Chrysmela, so they can wear it every day rather than for special occasion only. And another thing is, we'd love to work with you to create the earring backs like these, because it works with any studs the customers already have. So on every level, we'd love to work with. Oh, more importantly, it saves your store sales staff's time. So if your customer comes in just because she lost one back, and sometimes it takes minutes or even 10 minutes for your staff to find a perfect replacement for that particular earring. So instead of wasting that time for the, 30, 40, $50 sales, you just pop on the Chrysmela, everybody would be happy, and you save time too.
Uh-huh. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Love that. So, how can our listeners find you and get in touch with you?
Yes, our website is CHRYSMELA So Chrysmela spelled as CHRYSME.LA because we are in LA. And you can find us that way, or you can call Larissa, or you can read under this podcast. So there will be information.
Exactly. Yes. Great. Well, what else? Is there anything else that you want to tell us that I haven't covered today? I feel like I covered a lot, but there might be something else that you want to talk about.
No, you have. Maybe the you mentioned about competition and
Sure.
what are the alternatives there may be. So the as we discussed the high-end earring bag replacement was non-existent product category in jewelry industry in the States until like 6 years ago when we started. And since then, there are few I wouldn't call them competition, but alternatives that would either lift heavy earrings or lock from a secure lock that just locks, but it's plastic lock. So there are a few other alternatives to the typical butterfly bag that comes free of charge with the earrings. But so the category is evolving, but the as a choice, Chrysmela is the only one that automatically fits, locks, and lift and cover all the ground of earring problems with
Uh-huh.
the product.
Well, that's very impressive. And they're pretty. I know a lot of those backs. I haven't tried many of them, but just from my general knowledge, they're kind of ugly.
Mhm.
And they're not made always from the gold material or platinum material.
Right. So coating is both gold and yellow gold, platinum, 99.9% purity. And so every surface that touches your skin is nearly pure platinum or gold, which was very important to us. And especially it's hypoallergenic because all of us have metal allergy.
Yes.
So we address that issue as well. And also, many ladies have cold hands, especially in the morning. And they, can you imagine they have to sacrifice 10 minutes screwing on their screw back to their
Mm-hmm.
diamonds, which is really a big problem. And all they have to do with Chrysmela, just pop it on and you're good to go.
Yeah, I hate screwbacks.
Me
Make
too.
them go away.
I totally like it. Even the bouquet is hard to hold straight because you have to squeeze and hold, and
Yeah,
it's hard sometimes.
absolutely. Well, thank you for introducing this to the US market, and I hope that some designers and retailers hear this and get curious about it and want to bring them to their own products.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Mayumi. I
Thank
really
you,
appreciate
Larissa.
it. Yeah,
Thank you, Larissa. I love the conversation. Thank you.
thank you. It was such a pleasure to be able to talk to Mayumi and hear more about what she had to say about introducing a disruptive new product to an industry that's built on tradition. Be sure to visit the Chrysmela website at CHRYSME.LA to view all their earring back solutions and follow them on Instagram at Chrysmela. In addition, Mayumi wanted me to share that for my retailer and jewelry designer audience, Chrysmela's wholesale price starts with just 12 units per order in any combination of their 6 SKUs. If you're interested, you can contact Mayumi at info@chrysmela.la. I really look forward to sharing more interviews with you.